Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to today's Magic webinar. Your wish is my command, mobile apps for Oracle ERP. My name is Glenn Johnson. I'm a Senior Vice President here at Magic Software Enterprises, and I'm joined today by Ted Brennan. Welcome, Ted.
Thanks for having me here, Glenn. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Appreciate you joining us, and we want to thank everyone for joining us out there in webinar land, wherever you may be joining us from. Today's webinar will be recorded, and we will also be providing time for questions and answers at the conclusion of the formal presentation. We would ask that if you have a question, you simply type it into the chat box and send it to the host and presenter, and we will be happy to take those questions at the conclusion of the prepared portion of today's session. So without any further ado, we would like to begin with just a word of background on Magic Software, who is hosting this webinar, obviously. We are a publicly traded company. NASDAQ ticker symbol is MGIC, and we are therefore an open book. You can check all of our financials, which are excellent and have been for many, many years. Consistent growth in revenue and profitability is shown there. What we do, we provide an integration platform, and in today's context, that's important because it provides you the ability to integrate any application to your Oracle ERP system, so regardless of whether that's Oracle eBusiness Suite, PeopleSoft Enterprise, or JD Edwards Enterprise One or JD Edwards World, the four systems, or of course Oracle Fusion as well. So all of those ERP systems are integrated by the Magic XPI integration platform. We also provide enterprise mobility through the Magic XPI application platform, and this allows you to create contextual apps on any mobile device that, of course, then with integration to the back end becomes a very powerful solution. As a matter of market focus, although we're neutral like Switzerland and we integrate to everyone, we are focused on Oracle apps here, especially in the United States. We're an Oracle Platinum partner. We're a Quest Platinum partner, which of course is the users group for JD Edwards and PeopleSoft Enterprise. And in addition to that, we are exhibitors at the Collaborate conference each year in a major way on Main Street, and this is the environment where obviously the Oracle Applications Users Group, the Independent Oracle Users Group, and the Quest International Users Group all get together. So we've achieved the Oracle Validated Integration for JD Edwards Enterprise One designation, and that shows that we're using the approved methods for Oracle integration in that validation process. So that's just another example of how we are taking seriously our commitment to our customers in this area. So end-to-end enterprise mobility is about doing more than just providing a mobile app development tool, or doing more than just providing a way to integrate mobile apps, or doing more than just providing a way to manage all the mobile apps on your employees' devices, whether they be through BYOD or through company-owned policy, but also providing all of those things and the professional services that you may need, either directly through Magic Software or through one of our authorized business partners, in order to have an end-to-end solution for enterprise mobility that, very importantly, of course, has the ability to integrate on the back end to your Oracle ERP system, so that you can enhance and extend business functionality in a mobile context when an off-the-shelf mobile app might not be available from Oracle for the particular business process that you're looking for. So when you're integrating with eBusiness Suite, the Magic XPI integration platform is going to support finding, discovering, and automating the required Oracle SOA Gateway web services, and it can also work with the Oracle XML Gateway if for some reason you would want to do that. Depending upon your version of eBusiness Suite, If you have a much older version, then there are different methods that can be looked at. But really, for the last um, uh, period of time, everyone's going to have the SOA web services available, and the Magic XPI integration platform is just the perfect environment for your IT department to manage all of those web services from an integration standpoint, and really automate it and take the pain out of managing those processes when you're integrating to your mobile apps, or even integrating any-to-any enterprise applications in the background. With PeopleSoft Enterprise, of course, the integration methodology may be similar. It could be quite different depending upon your version. The PeopleSoft Integration Broker does offer a beautiful set of web service APIs, and that's been around since 4 in various iterations. So this is a powerful environment to open up PeopleSoft so that information can get in and out. What it doesn't do, of course, is what none of the APIs do, which is doesn't do any intermediation. It doesn't transform the data from one format to another. It doesn't trigger the business processes that need to take place. It doesn't do any of those things that you have to provide in addition. And if you want to avoid that manual line-by-line programming, then the best way to do that, of course, is through an integration platform. If you have existing Java, C, C++ routines that you've written and you want to take advantage of those, the good news is that the Magic XPI integration platform will do that. You can do essentially remote procedure calls, or utilize Java objects, utilize your .NET routines and so forth. It also, of course, is going to be able to support things like common web services through the PeopleSoft Component Interface API. But again, most of the time you're going to be using the PeopleSoft Integration Broker and the Web Service APIs instead. But it depends on your version. And if you're in a much, much older version of PeopleSoft, then you may actually be using XML or flat file interfaces, but those are also supported and something that can be worked with depending upon your version. We, of course, encourage you to be on the latest version of your Oracle ERP systems, but in the real world, that isn't always the case. Now, as we're integrating mobile apps with JD Edwards, once again, it depends on the version. If for some reason you're still in these older environments, World 7.3, or a older version of Enterprise 1, then you may still be able to integrate. You will still be able to integrate, but you need to use slightly different methods in some cases, especially with World 7.3. It's mostly going to be about Z files, correct? But with the Enterprise 1, the business functions are really the best way for us to manipulate that. And the beautiful thing is that, as Ted will show us when he actually demonstrates, because he's going to demonstrate the JD Edwards integration for us today with the mobile apps, the management in XPI abstracts all this up to the user level so that the business analyst doesn't have to get involved in the details of how to write a web service or how to write a Java function or any of that. It's all abstracted. It's in a dialog box. You're just answering questions basically in order to configure your business processes. And obviously, you need to understand the data structures and what's going on in the background, but it doesn't require line-by-line programming. That's the good news. So let's talk about what people have done with this. So when you use the end-to-end enterprise mobility solution for Magic Software, you can create mobile apps. You can connect them on the back end to your ERP system. One of the great stories is that of Merit Service Solutions. This is a snow removal and landscaping company, and sometimes, I like to say they're like the Uber of snow removal and landscaping, because they contract with the people who need the snow removed, and they contract with the people who do the snow removal. They don't actually own the equipment that does the work. The people who are doing the work are contractors to them and service providers, and not employees. So in that sense, it's kind of like that, the Uber business model, I suppose. And the powerful thing about the mobile app that was created was that it handled all of the same kinds of things that you can imagine would be required. The mobile routing, being able to provide proof of service so that you would get payment, and really simplifying the operation for the service providers in so many ways. So let's look at that application. Chris Carroll, who's the Director of Information Technology, made a presentation at the Collaborate Users Group Conference just this last April, in which she presented and talked about how all of this worked for Merit with their Magic app. And the neat thing about it is that it did a number of things from a functional standpoint. It geo-stamped real-time service validation information, provided visibility through check-in and check-out processes. It provided for dynamic account management. Storm Central, which is a custom-built platform, integrates their AccuWeather data, their Google Maps, their mobile inputs, and it allows them to make better decisions based on the data so that they can be proactive rather than reactive as things like blizzards and storms are moving through their service areas. They're able to work in real time based on real-time data. They provide that photo verification, which is just very important to streamline the billing process to make sure that they're reducing those disputed invoices to zero or near zero. They are able to use automated push notifications so that they're more efficient getting into the field, getting the service providers to where they need to be more efficiently, and they get the instant mobile reporting of what's happening out there in the field. Just a beautiful solution, and the application or process begins with the idea of predictive alerts. So they use AccuWeather forecasting to essentially see the storms coming when we're in the case of snow removal, and then they have, of course, their contracted sites, and they can view the contracted sites and the work orders that are pending on the mobile app. They can do a time-stamped check-in, and that is a geo-fenced application at that point, so very cool to use this concept of geofencing with the GPS device built into your phone, and it really has a very custom design. This is not an out-of-the-box app, right? This is a custom app because of the business processes involved, but also because of the environment in which it's being used. You're in the middle of a blizzard, you're moving snow, you're trying to drive, a few miles to get to, the Walmart or the Target parking lot or whatever it happens to be. You need something that has a simplified interface and yet is extremely functional. And this was obviously a challenge, and one which I'm extremely proud of what Chris Carroll and the Merit Service Solutions team was able to come up with, and that Magic software was able to help them implement. So they select the services that they provide, they check in, they provide proof through photographs of that, so they're basically taking the measuring sticks showing how much snow is there before they begin, and they take another photo after. So this photo validation is an excellent process. They can even do signature capture if that's required by the customer. They don't do it in all cases, but some customers want a signature from the driver. And so they provide that in the app as well as an option depending upon the contract details of the person that's receiving the services. So very, very nice solution, and it even attaches the AccuWeather data that shows the snow that occurred in that geolocation, leading up to that time. Just an excellent, sort of proof of service for a very different kind of business model. Another interesting story is that of Plano Synergy. Plano is a company that has been in the plastic molded outdoors gear market for a number of years. They've undergone some mergers and acquisitions. You could consider these to be consumer goods, but they really had a need for mobile employees that needed to enter their mobile sales orders, their work orders. They wanted to eliminate duplication between ERP and CRM systems and provide a real basis for automatic order, opportunity to order conversion, and so forth. So their objective was to develop this mobile app, and they called it Customer Program Sheets, and it facilitated a multi-tier workflow for order approvals, and it integrated the mobile app with the back-end ERP and CRM system. So making use of the ability to integrate with Salesforce, which happened to be their CRM system, and of course Magic Software has a Salesforce App Exchange certified adapter. It's 5-star, as a matter of fact, in that environment, as well as the Oracle validated integration adapter. So it really simplified the integration processes. The mobile sales teams were able to utilize this app, facilitated management level approvals on all their work orders. Just a great solution. So from a simple diagram standpoint, you have Oracle ERP, in this case specifically JD Edwards. You have the Magic XPI integration platform. You have the Magic mobile app that was created on a custom basis for the customer, and then on the CRM side, you had Salesforce as their particular CRM system that was being utilized. Another excellent story is that of Mayer Electric Supply. They have a business that is basically distribution of electrical supplies to electrical contractors and similar types of customers, primarily what you would consider a B2B business, although these are industrial goods, obviously. And they had a large will call operation in this type of business, because as the electrical contractors are out in the field, they find a need for a part that they don't happen to have in their own inventory, and so they come to Mayer Electric Supply with their truck, and they want to load that part onto their truck and go back out into the field and solve the problem for the customer. Well, as you can imagine, that requires a pretty active will call desk for this type of business. And the beauty of this type of app is that they were able to utilize it for either entering or scanning a pick ticket, so they could scan the pick ticket number. They can get the basic details there. They can get the customer signature for receiving it, and that's going to be out on the dock. Like, okay, here's the box. Here's, would you please sign the mobile app, and you're done. So even we're all used to this kind of thing. If we've ever signed for a FedEx or a UPS package, you're kind of familiar with that kind of process. But this can actually take place on a dock in a will call environment as well. In the old world, it used to be a will call desk, right? And you had to walk up to the desk, stand in line. They had to bring the package to the desk, then the package had to be loaded to the vehicle. It just added a lot of steps, and they now are able, obviously, to pursue this in a much more efficient fashion that's really reflective of the real-world environment. So the kind of processes that you'll see here are things like the will call app, and so part of building these mobile apps is really thinking about doing the business analysis. And designing the app. So as you do that and bring your requirements to Magic Software, then our role can be to either train you how to use the tools to do that, or to actually help you by providing services to create these apps. So we can do it either way. They also had the order entry aspects of this, all on the mobile app, all not just viewing orders, but actually entering those orders and processing those orders was a big part of this solution. Another great example is Boston Medical Center, a mobile app that was developed for facilities management purposes. Boston Medical Center is a 500-bed medical center, but they have multiple buildings. Dozens, literally dozens of buildings. This is a university medical center environment, so you therefore have a very complex facilities management challenge and a lot of work orders that needed to be executed. And they had an excellent work order management system for the facilities, but it wasn't mobile. And so adding that mobile dimension, of course, just makes a huge difference in such a diverse campus, literally a campus, for an organization like Boston Medical Center. So their apps allowed them to really manage the assets that are out there in the various locations to repair them. They used barcode scanning. You can scan a barcode on a piece of equipment. You can scan a barcode that's actually on a room. Scanning the barcode on the room can tell you what's in the room, what needs service in that room. Scanning the barcode on a piece of equipment can provide you with the work order for that equipment so that you see what it is that needs to be done, these kinds of things. So very powerful kind of solution. You can photograph and document the work that you've done or needs to be done. There's a lot of things like fire extinguisher inspections, all kinds of things that take place in facilities management context. So the benefits of this kind of thing, of course, is that it just really provides you with the efficiency in your service delivery organization, whether that's field service management or whether it's you need to create a more efficient sales force, you need to create a more will call operation. All of these different examples that we're talking about are ultimately about ROI and providing a more efficient IT process as well as a more efficient business process. So the integration platform makes your IT department more efficient in creating all of this, and the actual mobile apps that are created make your business more efficient in the delivery of business processes in a mobile context. So with that, I'm going to invite Ted now to actually do the live demonstration, because this session is really primarily about the how-to. So I'm going to change presenter to Ted so that he can share his desktop with us. So as soon as we see that desktop, I'll let Ted know so that we can all then begin to watch the demonstration which he's prepared for us. And there it is. I see the Mayor Electric Supply app. So take it away, Ted.
All right, so thank you, Glenn. So this is exactly what I'm going to be showing, is one of the case studies Glenn talked about. So this demo is going to be in two parts. First, I'm going to show you how the application works in real life, and I'm going to go behind the scenes and kind of show you the tools we use to build the application. So in keeping with Glenn's description, this is an application we built for Mayor that allows us to either submit or scan, I guess we're calling it a pig ticket number, which is really an order number in JDE, and what it's going to do is it's going to validate that order in JDE and send it up as an attachment. So here's a PDF of the order I'm going to scan right here. So this is the number here we're looking for. So I'll close out of that, and when I go into my application, you can see this here. This is my JD Edwards Enterprise 1 application, and I can see the orders already in here. So what's going to happen is once I scan this in and submit it and sign it, it's going to set this as an attachment. Okay, so I'll click out of that and I'll go to my application. So now I got two choices here. I can either submit it manually or I can scan it. So what's the fun in submitting it manually when I can go ahead and scan it? So when I hit scan, it's going to open up this barcode here. It's going to get that number. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure the number is correct. And actually what's happening right now is this is the data sync to go back to JD Edwards and validate that order number. Okay, so I got my number. When I hit submit, it's going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and accept that. So I got the information from JD Edwards Enterprise 1. So all that data you see here matches what was in for the order in JD Edwards Enterprise 1. That wasn't part of the, I didn't capture that information as part of the scan. So I'm going to go ahead and accept it. And of course, I'm going to sign for it. So as part of this process, the customer wants us to add a signature to the PDF of the order. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go to sign. Okay, just bear with me. There we go. Okay, like my signature, and I'll say okay. Go ahead and submit it. And now she's going back to J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1. Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And I had sent to my email. So luckily mine's in here already. Let's see, tbribbon.com. I'll go ahead and send that. And now when I go to J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1, I should see that as an attachment. So I go back in here, and go ahead and refresh this, and there's my attachment. Okay. So when I open that up, see my signed PDF, and there's my signature. Okay. So that was a combination of two different things. That was a application we built with XPA, our application design utility, and it also combined XPI, which is our integration utility. So I'm going to show you both of those tools right now. So I'm going to go into XPA for a minute. So I'm going to go into the Design Studio and show you how we built that. So this is actually the XPA Design Studio where we built the application you just saw. So a couple of things here. If you are familiar with Visual Studio at all, it has a Visual Studio look and feel, and it works a lot like Windows or building Windows forms. So I have a number of different tools over here in the toolbox that I can add, and you can see I can click on it. I can move it around to my liking. I don't want to say this because this is, and all these things we talk about here have events that we can pass to here, just like in Visual Studio, something you're probably used to if you're doing any kind of development. So it's drag and drop. It's a lot easier to use than, say, traditional coding. I can write some code in here, and with this tool here, I can actually preview what the application application looks like on different phones. So here, if I switch this around, I can see iPhone 4, I can see iPhone 5. So sometimes when you're doing different applications, you do your code, you do your forms. It's kind of like when you're doing a Windows form. Sometimes it looks good in one browser, but you want to make sure it checks in several different devices. So that's what we're doing here. Here I can check that out. Okay, so that's the different ways we can build an application. There's a lot of different really tricks to that here. If I click out of this, but I don't want to save the changes, and we can go back to these particular events. So here is the login event, and here's the logic and the arguments that I can pass as well. So it's very visual, very interactive, and allows you to really speed up your application development for building mobile or other types of applications. So in this particular example, we're using a couple of different products. First one is, like you see right before you, this is XPA, and XPA, has the ability to do things like populate data from a lookup or things like that. But in this particular example, we are doing a lookup directly to J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1. For that, we use our integration tool called XPI, and I'll show you how that works. So here is the XPI design. Excuse me. So here is the example I just went ahead and showed, and this is the XPI integration tool. So here is where we build the relationships with the various applications we're working with. So over here to the top and to the left are the data flows. So once we have flow from one application, we can pass that data flow to really any other application. So, and as you can see, here's I'm getting an order from the application. I'm using it as an HTTP call, and then I'm passing it over to J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1. And so I'm using these things over here we call components. So these components over here are connectors to the various applications we're working with. So, simply, not only do they give us connectivity to these various applications, but they also come with the appropriate protocols for integrating with those applications. And I, do schema discovery and other things too, and I'll go ahead and show you that. So, but in this particular example, so all these different applications we're talking about, they all have different rules for integrating. So if regardless of what we're integrating with, whether it's J.D. Edwards, Salesforce, or anything else, they all have these rules that we have to follow. Our components already come with those built in. Okay. Now, in my list here, you can see some components that, you can probably see some logos that are probably familiar to you. So I have some pre-built components for JD Edwards, JD World, Sugar CRM, SAP, and so the different, the idea behind XPI is that we can take any application and integrate with any other application. So, although we have specifically application-specific connectors, I'm not limited to connecting that way. So let's say I have an opportunity to integrate with some other application, like, for instance, a custom one we just built. So this is a custom application we built, and I'm integrating with it using HTTP. So we have a lot of generic connectors that allow us to do that. So, I have an HTTP connector that allows me to build and consume my web services. I can, I have a web services connector that allows me points to a specific WSDL, and it'll populate all those methods and properties within there. So, we can take any application and we integrate with any other application in a real-time utility. So for this, I grabbed my information from the HTTP and I passed it to an XML variable. And so when I open that up, this takes me to our data mapper, and simply put, this is an XPI rather, where we do most of our work. So here I'm passing information from a database to an XML. So here, when I pass this, here's a lookup from the JD Edwards Enterprise 1 database, and this is where I'm validating that order number, and I'm passing some information based on some criteria, and I'm passing it to an integration tool. The reason it allows me to do that, the reason I'm passing it to a variable rather, is it allows me to manipulate that data. So if I go ahead in here, like for instance, subtotals looks like some manipulation on that data, I can divide that. Looks like I'm dividing this by 100. So I have a number of different, I don't want to mess with this one here. I have a number of different ways of manipulating that data. So whenever we're passing information from one application to another, it's not always a one-to-one relationship. So sometimes when, even though we have these web servers and these fancy things that allow us to pass data, it's not always one-to-one. So me have something coming in as one date format that has to be passed to another. So we can modify that format here. So if I go into some of these things, I can add some conditions on here to set these values. Looks like I have some of that coming in on this order. So if I go into, when I go into this, it looks like I'm adding a condition here in case the tax record is multiplied by 8, I guess, thousandths or whatever that number. I can't compute that on in my head, but the point being is it allows us to apply some conditions onto these variables before we pass them along. Okay, so now that I've added that, I've done my lookup against the data. I'm now ready to pass that PDF onto JD Edwards Enterprise 1. And so for that, in this particular example, when we're reading from JD Edwards, it's okay to use we used a database connector to go ahead and do a read because you're not going to break anything by doing a read. Adding information is a little bit different. So here I'm adding that attachment in JDE using our pre-built connector for JDE. And the way we do that is we utilize the power of the business functions within JDE. We don't write directly to the JDE tables. Okay, we go in here and we use this configuration to do a lookup against a particular business function. So all of our connectors actually do schema discovery. Okay, what that allows us to do, it allows us to go back and we're not a template-based solution. We don't go up and say, okay, well, hey, we don't presume to know your business process. So, when you have custom objects in your JD Edwards or your CRM or your custom build application, we don't presume to know your business. We say, okay, well, just give me whatever you have. So that's what this will do. So when I click on this ellipsis here, that takes me to, I will get a list of all the different business functions that are in that server and all the different index fields. So when I click on this button, it's actually doing a read back to my JD Edwards Enterprise 1 instance, and it's saying, just give me whatever you have. So here I have a list of all the different business functions that I can use. So if I go ahead and do a get on here, I can get all these different business functions. So I pick the ones I need, and I just I do what I grab whatever I need, and then I go ahead and utilize that. So here it'll take me to another. It'll take me to another data mapper. So here is where I'm adding that attachment back into JDE, and I'm returning to that number. Okay, so here's where I would go ahead and do that. Now, the nice thing about our solution is that we have a very powerful monitoring tool that allows you to let you know what goes on within your particular integrations. So here we have a monitor. Unlike traditional point-to-point integration, when you just have a DLL sitting on a server, you don't really know what's going on with the integration. Well, here we have a very powerful reporting tool that tells me that. So this is the actual project I've been running. What's in red are all the different projects that are attached to this particular server. So when I open this up, I can go see everything that is going on with this particular integration. So this is a very powerful tool. So we can do a lot of things here. We can see how long it takes to execute our different flows. I can pass application-specific error messages. So if you build an application with specific error messages, we have our own error messages, obviously, but we can pass application-specific error messages as well as handle application-specific error handling. I can do that for JE or any other application. I can even pass the metadata that was passed. So in this particular example, in this paperclip, this will actually give me the metadata that I passed from one application to another. So that really is a powerful tool that allows you to see what's going on in your integrations in real time. So all of this actually runs on a technology called in the background. So once you've built your applications, it runs as a Windows service in the background. So it has a very small digital footprint, but it allows you to utilize technology called in-memory data grid, which allows us to pass a significant amount of data on an internal server's RAM to orchestrate the integration. So it really speeds up the integration time. And it comes in with built-in active-active clustering. So it allows us to go ahead and utilize the power of several servers in an environment. So if one fails over, if one goes down, the other one can just pick up the slack and see our integrations keep on rolling. Okay, well, Glenn, that's all I was really prepared to show today.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ted. I appreciate the demonstration there. That's excellent. And if you want to bring back your Magic XPI flow, we can open it up for questions there as well. So if you have a question, please type it into the chat box, send it to the host and presenter, and we will try to get to those questions all here. We have quite a bit of time left, so we should be able to do that. Let's see if we have a question. First question is, could you repeat the supported mobile devices? Ted, are you there? Are you on mute? Or?
Yeah, sorry. So we support a number of different mobile devices. I can go back in here and kind of show you which ones that this one's use this one for. So let me get back into that. It looks like it's not behaving right this second. I'm going to go like one. There I am. So it looks like I have iPhone. I have some different Android devices. These are the ones that we have support for right now. Obviously, we're continuously adding them as the marketplace demands.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Let's see what the next question is. Oh, yeah, could you describe your support for IBM I? I guess that would be for the JD Edwards World users primarily.
Well, we support the RPC calling and all the business functions that are in JD Edwards World. So typically, we have a connector that goes to JD Edwards World, and the way we handle that is that we utilize the loading of the what are called the staging of the Z tables, and through IBM I we can actually call different RPC programs to once that data has been passed. So we can call there's some built-in ones and there's some custom ones too. We can utilize both of them.
Okay, how do you access the geolocation data?
Excellent question. So typically we can access the geolocation. I believe it's a utility. Some of them are open. I think Google has a location utility that's open source. If not, we can utilize some custom ones too. So we just point to it, and depending on the event that gets fired, we go ahead and pass what we need.
Okay, great. So that's basically then you're converting latitude and longitude data into through that Google service into a physical address then, right? Is that how
that's correct? Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Almost like a massive lookup table. Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's see. I don't see any other questions coming in here now, so I really appreciate your taking the time, all of you who've been on the webinar, and thank you to Ted for an excellent demonstration. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
All right, and if you have any questions, please give us a call at Magic Software 949-250-1718. You can ask for Angela at extension 259. She'll get you set up with the appropriate technical experts. Or you can just shoot us an email at info@magicsoftware.com. There's full details on all of the services and solutions we discussed available on magicsoftware.com website as well. So once again, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Magic Software.